Welcome to episode 8 of Prepare for Takeoff. I am your host, Kushan. You can also call me Brandon. And today, as always, I am joined by my co-host, SSN754.
Good morning, sir. How you doing today?
I'm feeling better. I was
That's good.
sick towards the early part of this week, so finally getting over that
Uh-huh.
little plague that I had and doing pretty well now. How about you?
Yep, good. I'm all good. This is just another weekend. Getting ready to start another week up. We got a lot to talk about today. I'm telling you that. So,
Yeah, this is
what?
what the third time we've recorded episode 8 now over the last
Yeah,
like 3 weeks.
yeah, yeah.
And I
It kind
think
of
that
piled up on us. So,
yeah, it kind of piled up, and I actually cut a lot out of, I went back through the news because it's been a while
uh huh.
of the flight sim news, and it's like, a lot of this is hard to get excited about for reasons that'll become apparent later in the show.
Yeah,
So I cut
yeah,
out a lot of the release stuff and tried to keep it to the big topics.
yeah. The big news coming out. What's Navigraph doing? Or they? I kind of see them maybe integrating into Flight Sim 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly.
But yeah, so speaking of Navigraph, let's just go ahead and get right into it. Navigraph
Yeah.
has released their annual 2019 community survey.
Yes.
Do you participate in these?
I have not yet, and that's the one link I forgot to pull up. So let me look at this real quick. What we got going
Have
on?
you done this in previous years?
I probably have,
I'm
yes.
gonna say they do this. They do this community survey. I mean, this is kind of like their yearly thing, and
Yeah,
they see what platform you're on, what's your favorite what developers you've used over the last 12 months, what media you're using. I mean, they go over like pretty much every aspect of flight sim. Are you using like VATSIM? Are you,
uh Well, yeah. Hi-Fi Sim, the people who do Active Sky do this too. So
oh, I didn't know ActiveSky did. I know, like, I've
yeah,
always seen the Navigraph
yeah.
one being like the big community survey.
Use PMDG.
But that's out.
Yes,
I haven't had a chance to go and actually fill it out yet, but I think it's only active for like 2 weeks or something, or a week or
uh,
two. So I need to go get that filled out today.
yeah, yeah. You better get on that.
It's really interesting to see the results of these from in the past. In the past it was split, kind of, leaned more. I kind of recall it maybe leaning more towards P3D with X-Plane kind of as the next biggest as far as platforms.
Uh huh.
But I'm really kind of curious how this year's 2019 survey is going to differ from the one we're going to get from a year from now.
Yeah, yeah. Next year is going to be totally different because hopefully the Microsoft Flight Sim will be out. Hopefully.
We're all calling this like Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. What if it's not out
Yeah.
till 2021? Do we call
Uh,
this Microsoft Flight
I don't know.
Simulator 2021?
I think they're really starting to gear that up, but it's going to be out by summer. I
Yeah.
believe
And
so.
actually, if you notice, like they don't even seem to be calling it Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. They're just calling it Microsoft Flight Simulator,
Yeah,
which I
kind
think
of starting over.
actually. Sorry, go ahead.
They're probably it's kind of like a resetting the game, basically.
Yeah, and I also see that as like they're using it as flight sims definitely now are more of a platform, with the long term development. So I can definitely see they're just getting rid of the year and they're just going to call it Microsoft Flight Simulator and they're just going to drop a version on the year from it.
Yeah.
But and speaking of Microsoft Flight Simulator, not really much to talk about the community survey other than it's out,
Yeah.
but PMDG have announced that they are basically ending all development for everything that is not Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. I mean,
And that if that ain't a big road sign in the road about how which way people probably need to be looking. If you use their products, this is what you better be looking up Microsoft Flight Simulator. So
they've announced that basically they're killing off all 32-bit platform. So
yeah,
basically FSX, FSX Steam Edition, and basically P3D before version 4, and they're ending
uh
all X-Plane development.
yeah, all
I
X
mean,
planes gone now.
it sounds like even like the PMDG 737 NG3, which we were expecting for P3D and eventually to come to X-Plane, is actually being restructured for just to be a Microsoft Flight Simulator platform.
Yeah, it's crazy, and also they're going to bring over the 737, the 47, the 777.
Oh yeah, they plan to bring over their entire library over to Microsoft Flight Simulator. But I thought what was really interesting about this is seeing that they're not only. I mean, I could see. I mean, the 32-bit end of development stuff, that doesn't surprise me. That's been in the works from them for years.
Yeah.
Or for basically since P3D version 4 came out, they've been saying that this is the future, and it's only a matter of time before this basically goes away, or the 32-bit platforms go away. I didn't really see the X-Plane end of development coming. That was, I mean, it's great in the fact that it lets them concentrate their resources rather than splitting it between multiple platforms, because other than the DC6, DC3, whatever it was, I can't remember. I don't own that one.
DC6, that's the one I own.
Yeah, the DC6. Other than that, they haven't brought any of their other aircraft to X-Plane. They say they were working on it, but it's like they're always busy with something else.
Yeah, well, PMGs, the snail's pace anyway.
Yeah, and I think that has to do with just their they were focusing on too many platforms. So I mean, I mean they're slow, but I think it also had to do with they're trying to basically shotgun too much.
That and the fact that the global flight operations thing, they're finally thinking about bringing that out into an active testing environment.
Yeah,
that's over a year old. What is it? It's been almost a year and a half since.
Almost a year and a half. It got announced at Flight Sim Expo 2018, I believe.
Yeah, and it's still not out. So they might even hold that back until the release of what Microsoft puts out. So.
No, I think we'll actually see that one sooner.
You think so?
Yeah, I think we'll see that one sooner, because that's not really the aircraft development. I can understand holding that back, but the global flight ops is supposed to be kind of sim wide, no matter what sim you're on. Was my understanding. Kind of like Project Fly, in a lot of ways. So I don't think it's really platform specific. Yeah. So I think we see that sooner.
Well, this is more down your alley. I use the DC6. Excuse me, the DC6, but I never really have brought it to my, had the gumption to buy the big jets yet from them. So.
Yeah, and really the only one I have is the only one I have, not know really about it. The only one I have is the 737.
And you love it. So.
And I love. I mean, I love the 737 because the 737 is literally like one of my two favorite, commercial airliners. For whatever reason, I love the 737 line. But I haven't actually bought the 74 and the 777 yet, and I think at this point I'm probably just gonna wait.
Well, the 74, that is going to be a default aircraft in the Microsoft Flight Simulator.
Yeah,
now.
but I really want, when they say default, I don't think it's gonna actually be the PMDG as the default.
I don't
as
think
the default
so.
aircraft. So
it's going to be more advanced than what we're used to, though, just because. So
maybe. I mean, it remains to be seen just what they mean by default aircraft. I mean, it's got to be approachable from everybody. And I'm pretty sure that FSX actually has a default 747 too, or FS9 did. I can't remember which one. I remember flying a default 74 in one of them.
Yeah,
but. But at this point, I'm probably, I've had the 777 and the 74 kind of on my radar for a while. But at this point, I think I'm just gonna wait till they come out unless it's an incredibly long time, and I just really have to fly a 777, or a 747. Which I'm not really a big jet guy, but I've been looking at like the 777 for like cargo flying, or sim cargo flying. And so. I don't know. I may pick that one up, but I mean, PMDG doesn't really do sales, at all.
Yeah, they don't. No.
So I may pick that one up, but I'm probably just gonna wait.
Yeah.
I don't want to because either way, unless you buy the NGX, if you buy the NGXU, then you actually get a discount on. If you buy it before the end of the year, then you'll actually get a discount on the Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 version of the recently released PMDG 737 NGXU.
Okay.
Like that segue there?
Yep, I did. I
That was
was noticing how you was going to dovetail that in there, and yeah, you did
yeah.
a good job there.
So
So,
they've released the 737 NGXU base package, which is
uh-huh.
basically completely rebuilt for P3D version 4.
Cool.
And
Very good.
what I think this is I think when they decided to basically restructure everything going forward to Microsoft Flight Sim, I think
Hmm.
this was basically like they were too far down the road to just say, look, well, we have all this development already done. We
Hmm.
can't just not release this. So I think that's what this is.
Yeah.
I think this was originally supposed to be, part of that NG3, or NGX3, package for P3D. But then when that kind of, got restructured and repurposed, I think this was, they were too far down that road to just throw it all away. So they repackaged it. Which, to be honest,
Okay.
which makes sense because if you look at the current, the current version of the 737 NGX, I mean, that's been around since like the Steam days, and it's just been, or not the Steam days, but I think what FSX,
Uh,
FS9,
yeah, it's been
was when the first one that came out, and it's just been
yeah,
complete,
been around a while.
it's just been retooled and kind of updated, but it's never really taken advantage of the new features in P3D version 4 and new
Yeah.
technology. So I mean, it was only it needed kind of an update.
Yep. Understandable. I mean, it was just probably ready to go. It was on their end, and they had to release it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it was going to be a wasted development, wasted effort. So,
Nope. I think we're both in agreement there.
yep. Let's see. What else we got, man? I mean, the XO19, the Microsoft convention happened, what, last weekend?
I think it was last weekend.
Yeah,
Did you watch
and
this trailer?
I did. I was, that I can't stop getting blown away by the visuals this game is putting out. This is incredible. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I watched the trailer. I
So
watched I watched the new thing that you showed me this morning. I hadn't seen that yet, with that sloped runway that's in France, that's off the side of a mountain. That's just incredible too. So,
yeah, I think we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
getting a little
So
ahead of ourselves, but it's a
there's
big
a little bit
product.
of
So,
there's a little bit of basically you saying "I told you so" going on right now, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. Well, again, the thing I saw last night with the real world traffic hint they've dropped. How in the heck? That is going to be amazing if they can pull that off. Real world traffic, AI traffic in a sim. That is, even if it's delayed, delayed, delayed 8 hours or whatever they have to do to keep the government happy,
Yeah.
because that would be the major thing, the,
Yeah,
the
so for
major
those that
roadblock.
don't really know what we're talking about, Microsoft on Reddit released a image, or there was an image that popped up on Reddit, I should say. I don't know where
Yeah.
this was originally posted. That was supposedly one of the developers basically said, "We know where every single plane is, and we actually render it in real time. We
Yes.
also have AI-driven planes, and then everything from the AI traffic controller gets a slot. The interaction between us and the real-world traffic is kind of complicated. You have options. You can either fly with just AI traffic, and we control everything, or you can fly with real-world traffic. And then the really hard one is a blend. We're still working on that. It's hard."
Yes. Yeah. It sounds like
I
it's
mean,
well.
that sounds awful like there's gonna be real-world live traffic to me.
It sounds a lot like it to me too. Plus, it also sounds like they're going to be have a totally rebuilt ATC system in the sim, because that's an important thing that we've always wanted and never quite got right. And boy, that would be something too.
Yeah, I mean, it's
It
just,
would be.
they're just, they're,
It's almost like they're throwing too many snowballs at you, and you just can't figure out which
yeah,
one to dodge.
I'm so just kind of overwhelmed right now.
I am.
I am on record in multiple episodes saying, all right, I'm gonna be excited, but I'm not gonna get my hopes up too much because this is Microsoft we're talking about. But the more that they do
Well,
here, the more it's really hard just not to like get excited right now.
I know. Well, you remember a few months back where there was that AI add-on for P3D that supposedly had real traffic, and
And then
it was
it crashed my sim.
yes, yeah, that crashed your sim,
Yep.
and and you were because that's like the holy grail of AI traffic is to have real world traffic in the sim with all deliveries that you want and all the airlines and everything looks right. And maybe Microsoft is going to pull that off. To bring all the airlines into that though, with have their paints in the sim. I
And
could
see,
see
that
it
was the
happen.
thing about the I can't remember the name of the add-on now. I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, I can't either. There's some little tiny thing that
And I think they did get it patched to where it wasn't doing that, but
huh?
I just never, by that point, I'd already uninstalled it. But basically, it relied on freeware, basically reskins that you could install
Yes.
for those liveries, and then it
Hmm.
basically took those. You basically pointed the sim at the liveries, and then it generated like the a snapshot in time of traffic.
Hmm.
And what I didn't like about it was that it snapshotted like immediately as you were, or I think it maybe even did. I can't remember if it did like 12 hours in the past or 12 hours in the future, but it's like it was really kind of limited.
Yeah, it was limited to what you
Which
could.
makes sense. I mean, they obviously don't want to store that data for a long period of time when
And
it does that snapshot, so that makes sense.
and it was also just point to point, right? It wasn't like the whole world.
Yeah, it wasn't world traffic, so it would
Yeah.
basically generate traffic basically from your departing airport and your arrival airport.
Yeah.
Is how it worked.
Okay.
And then I thought it would also generate traffic along the route, but I can't remember.
Yeah. But if the devs at Microsoft, this new team, if they can pull this off, that's going to be something else.
Yep.
That would that alone, because we both were on the Flight Sim Discord, and that's a major thing for those guys in there to have real traffic.
I
So
mean, it is for me too. I mean, I like flying with that immersion. When I have to turn AI traffic off and then I see like a dead airport with nothing going on,
yeah,
it's an immersion thing for me.
yeah,
And it
you know,
makes the world feel just empty. And
it
I'm
does.
not like, and I know everybody says, oh, go fly on VATSIM or go fly on Pilot Edge or whatnot, but it's like, that's just not really my thing. Like,
Me either. I
I'm
don't.
frankly not that good of a sim pilot.
Well, the major thing with Flight Sim for me, it's a relaxation tool. I
Yeah, me
get up
too.
there and I fly around and I look at the sights and see if I can recognize a highway or something. But with Microsoft Flight Sim, it's going to be, well, can I see my house? Or, can I, drop flower bombs on Kushan's house now? So, something like
Flower
that.
bombs on Kushan's
Flower bomb.
house.
Yeah. Something like that. So,
Yeah, for me, it's more about just like going. I mean, that's why I like the big jets. Is it's for me, it's like just like not really turning my mind off, but like I
mhm,
relax and just being able to follow like a set of procedures,
sure. Yeah.
and just kind of lose myself and like, all right, go from point A to point B and follow the checklist, and you'll get there, intact.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
I enjoy, I take off, I put my it into autopilot, and then I go just take a crap ton of screenshots,
Me too. Back in
and
the
I
day,
float while I'm on autopilot. I do my descent and I land, and by then it's like a couple hours have passed, and I'm nice and relaxed at that point
yeah,
because I can just
and
lose myself.
back in the day, I used to be into VAs, virtual airlines. I used to try to fly a flight every night, and boy, you can't do that anymore. So
Yeah, I've looked at joining like a virtual airline before, and we're getting a little off topic, but I've looked at
oh
joining a
yeah,
virtual airline before, and it's like I don't know if I actually fly that much. I
yeah, I
don't.
don't
I
either.
mean, I maybe get maybe a couple flights in at
A
the
week,
most. I have a really hard time right now flying during the week. Just by the time I set up the sim, I get my my desk all reconfigured to fly, and then get this plan my flight and all that. It's like by then it's like by the time I get home it's already 5:36 on average.
yeah,
By the time I eat dinner and all that it's 6:30,
hmm,
and then another couple minutes to plan my flight and get everything set up. It's already 7 o'clock, 7:30, and it's like, well, at this point it's like, well, I have like an hour and a half to fly, so it's
yeah,
like I don't really fly during the week all that much.
yeah. Yeah, it's a
Which is kind
quite
of what I. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, it's pretty time consuming actually. You know.
Yeah, which is actually one of those things I'm looking forward to a little bit with Microsoft Flight Sim is maybe having all of that reintegrated. So
Yeah.
instead of having to go through, it's like, all right, I have to start up, Active Sky. I have to start up real world traffic. I have to do
Mhm.
this and start up that all before I can get in flight. I'm hoping I
Yeah.
can just double click on the icon and it's like, all right, it's there ready to go for you.
Well, that's what they're kind of the people who have had a shot at the developer uh, convention things they've had at the show what the sim's about. You know, that's what they're saying. Basically, it's two buttons and you're in a plane. So you know, let's see. It's looking good for the flight simulator.
Yep.
Uh,
And one last little bit of Microsoft Flight Sim news is that they released their latest in their feature discovery series on
yes,
aerodynamics.
yes. The aerodynamics is oh man,
And that
slope
came,
terrain, tire friction. You know, improved physics. But the main thing is, it sounds like it's going to be compatible with old add-ons. It's going to have the old FSX flight model,
yeah, I
so
don't
you
know if
can
that's going
switch
to be
back and
compatible with
forth.
old add-ons. What they mentioned was that if you didn't like the new flight model, then basically you could switch back to the FSX flight model.
Okay, well,
But they announced, yeah, improved physics, so they now have slope terrain support, including landing on slope terrain.
mhm,
The example they showed in the trailer was them landing on a hillside, or kind of like a mountainside, but a
uh,
hillside. And when you land, you'll actually have realistic tire friction. You can actually stop on a hill, and then after a certain speed, when you stop, your tires will actually switch from basically like movement friction to like static friction.
wow, yeah.
And they've got better inertia as far as like the weights of the plane. It feels like there's weight behind it.
And another thing that the developer mentioned in that video was that the physics model, its frame rate will stay fixed
Yeah, I
regardless
saw
of what
that.
your
Yeah, so even if you lose FPS, your physics rate is actually still running at the same rate as so it
yes,
never feels like it's off.
yes, which is very good.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. Service element aerodynamics, thousands
yeah,
of aerodynamic surfaces. Gear and
basically,
external tanks are modeled as objects in the airflow.
yeah.
I mean, that's just.
You know, they were showing all those visuals of the airflow over stadiums. You're going to see updrafts, and in the clouds you see downdrafts, and
Oh yeah, they showed
this
all
is
sorts of like the air particle movement of like something may like an
yeah,
air particle may go up in a cloud because it's getting an updraft, or it may go down because the wind is going this direction. I mean,
it's almost too good to be true. You know, that's the best way I can say it. You know, how are they doing all this? It's just nuts. You know,
worldwide air mass simulation is what they're
yeah,
calling it. I mean, that's just.
and the guy said we know what the weather is on in any point on the earth at any time. So
I
wow.
mean, and that also kind of hints at maybe real world weather built in.
Oh yeah, I think that's a given. Yeah,
I mean,
I
although
think.
I thought they said that wasn't coming right at the start.
Well, I don't know how else they could do it.
Yeah,
Other
I thought I remember in one of the previous episodes they had mentioned not, but I mean if they know what the real world weather is across the
yeah,
planet, which okay, there's thousands of satellites up there, that's not hard to
mhm.
get, but if they can transfer that like into real world weather, oh no, they said historical weather wasn't coming.
Yes, historical weather
Historical
wasn't.
weather wasn't going to be there,
Yeah, but real
but
world
real
is.
world weather was going to be.
Yeah.
Which is a little downer for me because, like I said, there's a lot of times like when I get home from work, I
Hmm.
don't, especially like during the winter, like I'll plan a flight,
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
6 o'clock at night that actually occurred at 9 a.m. in the morning or
Hmm.
noon or, some other point during that day. And this is why I had originally switched from SimBrief to PFPX,
Hmm.
that was before SimBrief supported Active Sky, and so the only way I was flying during the day with weather from the middle of the night.
Yeah.
With how the weather planning was being done,
Yeah. I
and
mean, that is maybe
it's a little
something.
bit of a bummer, but anyways, we're
Well, maybe they're leaving a feature out for Hi-Fi Sim to have something for their next version of Active Sky. I can imagine they're going to probably do something. So maybe they're going to have historical weather for let the add-on developers do that because
Possibly. You know,
Active Sky has we can go fly in the hurricanes and they have the historical weather. I could see that happening. So
yeah. No, I could see that maybe being as a conscious business decision to let
yeah,
the add-on developers in there.
yeah,
And then, well, speaking, one last add-on developer news is Orbex released an OpenLC development statement this
yeah.
week.
It's not good news out of them this week, is it? So
Nope, they've announced that I believe OpenLC Africa is close, but
yeah,
OpenLC Asia will probably never see the may not probably may never
yeah,
see the light of day.
yeah. And I'm not expecting it. So
No,
that's
I'm fully expecting it this, and I did see a trailer. I think it was in that XO19 where they said it was actually being powered by Orbex.
hmm,
Or no. I'm sorry. That was the trailer, or the FS Elite trailer was sponsored by Orbex. I'm sorry.
okay,
I'm
okay.
I'm getting it mixed up. No, ignore all that. Um, so maybe I don't know. If I'm Orbex, I'm probably a little scared right now.
I am too.
You know, because I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be room for like airport development going into Microsoft Flight Sim. You know,
Yeah,
to do the super high detailed airports.
yeah.
You know, I see, especially with like the interiors that you get now and all of that functionality. I think the default's going to be really close with their Azure AI and all the terrain stuff they're doing, but I think there's still going to be room for like the super high detailed add-on airports.
Yeah, yeah, well,
but
possibly.
but
Plus,
like if you look at Orbex and with just their terrain and land classes, and if I'm Orbex, I'm a little scared right now.
well, did you see in that video that Microsoft released about the aerodynamics? They were showing videos of that plane coming into LAX, and that looked amazing. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not saying that their default scenery doesn't look great. I'm just saying
yeah,
that, I'm sure there's gonna be, I don't want to say issues, but there's always gonna be little quirks of where it's gonna autofill something in.
yeah, yeah,
Where, an actual airport, an actual super high detailed airport, I'm sure it's not gonna be, I'm 99.9% positive it's not gonna be doing anything with like the interiors. So
I
it's like
think
if you look at a lot of like the new airports, like you can look through the glass into the
uh-huh,
terminal and at least
yeah.
see something, to varying degrees inside, the terminal.
And you
And,
won't see the little Orbix people walking around on the tarmac either.
and you won't see
So
the little people, and you won't, and,
yeah,
ground vehicles is something that we don't know either. So I think there's going to be room for stuff like that,
yeah, yeah,
and the super high detailed, add on airports, but, default's going to be a hell of a lot better.
uh-huh,
But I
yeah. I
think there's still going to be
was
room, but I don't know if there's going to be room for terrain.
Yeah, will be enough room for say the normal person, normal Joe, to want to buy it. Is it that much? Is it going to be that much of an improvement? You know, suckers like us, we'll buy anything that's a flight sim product.
You stick Orbex or Dr. Zilwicki or
Uh huh.
Fly Tampa or Flight Beam on something, and I'm gonna buy it. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, 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 and
because
that's
I really like their, especially like Flight Beam. I love their,
yeah,
all of
and,
their airports in P3D. So
and
if they switch over, I'll buy their flight sim stuff.
and Flight Beam, since they switched their publisher, it's a lot easier to access their content now, which is a big bonus for a
Yeah, I
lot of
actually still have to switch over my content over. I still have my installers. I need to get that
Wow.
done. I'm pretty sure that doesn't expire, but I need to get that done in case it does expire.
Yeah, you do. So,
I'll take care of that today.
okay, well, let's come to the big skeleton in the closet here. And
Oh, the honeycomb review.
yes, the thing that is soon to drain your wallet, no doubt.
I'm not gonna do it. Nope, I'm not gonna do it.
It got a heck of a nice review from FS Elite. So,
9.7 out of 10.
9.7 out of 10. They didn't have many gripes about it at all, except for
No, They had one gripe that there was some grinding on the gears on the elevator.
And if you have
And it was a bit what they say, a bit too tense for the person's liking.
Well, that could be adjusted probably. So.
And that could be adjusted, or it could just be it needs to be broken in a little bit, or it could just be it's it doesn't quite feel right to them. That's one of those things that's kind of subjective. But nope, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy it at all right now.
Okay, right now that's the caveat right there, folks. Right now. So maybe later today, maybe next week he could.
No, I'm not gonna buy it. I mean, Black Friday is yeah, Black Friday's coming up. So
yes,
if it goes,
Black Friday's coming up,
I doubt this is going on sale on Black Friday.
No, this
from
is
anywhere.
You'll never see a sale on something like this.
No, I highly doubt it.
And also, it's kind of a rare bird right now too. It's kind of hard to find.
It's a very rare bird. I found it on. I'm not gonna say where, just in case. I mean, not that anybody actually listens to us.
Yeah.
But I did find it on. I did find that a couple of online stores did say they had it, but I was actually gonna give those stores a call and confirm that they had it. Should I ever, actually go and buy this?
Sure, because you don't want to get ripped off. I understand that. So.
Well, they were legitimate stores. I just don't want to be like waiting. I know a lot of people are still like waiting for their, the people that pre-ordered are still waiting on their pre-order stuff.
And then showing up in stores, I would be a little upset.
And so if it was showing up in stores and I'm still waiting on my pre-order, I'd be pretty. It actually makes me happy I didn't really pre-order this, because I probably would have been pretty upset if they were giving out to stores before I got my pre-order.
Yep.
But it's one of those things that, should I decide to buy it for myself as a Christmas present, I'm going to call beforehand.
Yes, call beforehand, have them set aside, lay away, do whatever. So, absolutely. But that's a lot of flight sim news this week.
So just out of curiosity, are you looking at the honeycomb?
Possibly, tax money be coming.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's a little hard for me because I actually am planning a move next year. And so for me, I'm a little. I mean, I really want the honeycomb. I'm not gonna lie. I think everybody on that listens to us knows that I've been really looking forward to this yoke. But I've also got a move coming up next year, and the last thing I want to do, $250 is $250 I can go towards a move. So I'm trying to keep that in mind right now. And the other thing is, like, I just don't want to move this and it get broken in the move.
Yeah, that too.
And so it's like, if I buy it, then I have to keep the box, and then I'm not super worried about it getting busted in the move, but it's also it's a concern.
Yeah, absolutely, it's a concern.
I already have to move my PC, and that's going to be harrowing enough.
Yeah. But, I'll tell you a story. I moved once from Nevada back to here to Kansas, and I had 2 computer monitors in the back, a computer, a flat screen TV, all in my trunk packed together, and it all survived. I was really surprised that I had them all wrapped up in blankets and everything as much as I could, but they all survived. So
yeah, I remember when I moved from my apartment into my house. I had my computer like strapped in with like the seat buckle in the back seat of my car. And it was like the only thing I moved like my computer, my monitors, and the stuff that went with it, all my accessories. Basically, that was the only thing in my entire car during that trip. It's like I had moved all that stuff separately because I didn't want there to be any possibility of something like hitting one of them, or
that was the electronics load.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think and
that's all the flight sim stuff. I mean, we got our other passion, command.
Which had command operations came out on, what's it been, a week now? It came out on the 14th.
Been a week and a half, something like that.
Yeah, it came out on the 14th now, so a little over a week now.
10 days. So.
Yep. And I know we. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, well, it came out, and then our glorious developers on that have already patched it. 3 or 4 times now?
Something like that.
Yeah. So. I
They've
mean,
patched it. We've both. I mean, I've been probably playing more of that lately than I have in a long time, actually.
yes, same with here. Yeah,
I mean,
playing a lot of it. What do
it was always a great game for me, but after a while, I don't want to say it got stale, but it just I was playing so much of it, especially streaming it, that it was kind of wearing a little thin to me, and I needed a break from the game. And my break is now over, and I've fired it up.
well,
I think every single day since it's came out
yeah.
now.
Well, that and the fact, with the new Discord, we now have an official Discord for the game now. Besides your wonderful Discord, but on the with the plus side of that, we get to meet new people, and we're making some new friends. People are just as passionate about the game as we are. So
Yeah, well,
yeah,
lot of new people coming into the
yeah,
community with modern operations, and
yes,
I'm now curating. One of the reasons that we've recorded this episode 3 times now is that I'm now curating the community scenario pack for
yes.
the
You
game. So
got
I take all the developers or scenario developers, all from the community, all submit their scenarios, and I basically collate it all into one package and keep everything updated. And wasn't started by me. It was actually started by somebody else in Command Modern
uh,
Air Naval Operations. But
Miguel Molina was his
yeah, but
name.
Miguel kind of seems to have disappeared.
Uh huh.
So I've stepped up to curate that, and it was kind of a rush trying to, because it hadn't been updated in a year.
Hmm.
So I had a little bit of a rush there after basically most of last week, just trying to get it together. And
Yeah, it had a little bumps in the road because the databases were out of.
they still are. I haven't updated the databases, but they have made some of the older databases available. Most of
Yeah,
them were working right out of the box, but
yeah.
flipping through what I have that Miguel actually included in the files,
Hmm.
he, it's really hard to tell which scenarios are going where, and there doesn't really seem to be a system for what scenarios and what INI file or what
Hmm.
basically update
That,
script file. So I've been basically writing that more or less from scratch.
yeah.
I basically
Plus the
took
fact, the game has a different file system now, especially with the Steam Workshop. It's not held inside the game folder anymore. It's in a totally different area and under some weird folder, and yeah, it's just a
yes.
little different. So,
Yeah, what I've actually been doing is I actually have a standalone version of all the scenarios.
hmm
One thing that the Steam Workshop doesn't do is it doesn't upload the INI configuration file for the
wow,
scenarios, so I still have to have my own standalone version of it.
really?
In fact, right now I actually have 3 versions of the game on my computer. I have the Matrix
You are a
standalone
trooper.
version. I have a beta version, and with that I've got, and then I actually have the Steam version.
Wow, you are a trooper, sir. So,
Yeah, I think the most I ever. This isn't actually the most I've ever had. The most I ever had, I think I had 4 or 5 installs at one point.
yeah,
The
yeah.
Matrix one, the Steam one, and then I had there was at that time there was 2 or 3 different branches of the beta going on.
Yep.
So I had to actually have 3 different, basically installs for the beta.
hmm
But
And thankfully, they have simplified that quite a bit. So you don't really seeing that branching off,
yeah, you don't really
really.
see the branching all that much anymore in the beta. Now that we're allowed to talk about that,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But we're not giving away any secrets.
no,
This
we're
is
not. It's just that's just kind of I think standard. Everybody
yeah,
does branches from time to time in development,
absolutely.
and things
Yep,
have to get broken off. So, but
yep.
yeah, we've been. So what have you thought of Command Modern Operations? I know.
It's improved. I like the maps. I think it's performance as far as hardware wise. It's a lot better. I think about 25% is what I would guess anyway. You're able to run those big scenarios a lot better. Uh, it's the new UI. I love it. A lot of people are like, Where's my gray UI, man?" And people, hey, man, the black is awesome. Really hits really a lot better on the eyes. So I like that. The Tech view integration, very cool, and that's going to get improved. You know, we all gripe about the God's eye view being in there, but they'll fix that. That's these guys are resourceful. They'll fix that real quick. But yeah, it's got a lot of potential, and it's going to, of course, get its own DLC sooner or later. I'm sure that'll be coming. You know, maybe in the next couple months we might see some news on that. And
So what do you think of the map downloading? I've heard mixed reports. Some people have saying that
I don't know where they're getting
that the maps are loading slow, that they want the maps on their hard drive, even though it's, you know, what they say, 500 gigs or something like that of storage.
Download. And plus, I was reading the download is not even high res. It's in that comes with the game. So I don't know. You know, I don't know where people are coming with that. Maybe it's just slow internet connections, because it is downloading them, right?
Yeah, it is caching the tiles. I've had mix. In some cases, I've had it running really fast, and in some cases, it seems like
I've never had no 5-second download though. I don't know where
no, but you're also on a fiber connection though.
Yeah, I'm on a fiber connection. I have it on an SSD. The game's on an SSD, so solid state drive. So you know, I got it in the best place possible. But you know, I don't really see a lot of that. Plus the fact that, you know, of course the new you know, the new maps are great, but I use the relief layer a lot more than I thought
really?
I would. Oh yeah, I love that relief layer.
Because I've always been the map person. I've never really liked the relief layer all that much, and I mean I've been mixed with the new maps. I love the look of the new maps, which is why I've kept it. Although my one issue with it is when I zoom out, is sometimes it doesn't like refresh those tiles.
Yeah,
you know, and you'll get like the old map before it can basically overlay the new stuff over top of it.
Plus, there's one little gripe too. Is it's a little bright when you're trying to fight in Africa or something like that.
Yeah, I've been looking at Iran the last basically couple of days working on some stuff, and let me tell you, it's really, really bright.
It's really bright. Plus,
it's really so bright.
It's so bright you can't even see the map scaler on the bottom right anymore, really.
Yeah, and I actually had to turn it off at a couple points.
Reference points will go invisible.
Yeah, so I actually I had to actually turn off the new map and turn on the relief layer a little bit when I was working. You know, I was just kind of using it as reference, looking at some old air bases, comparing it to, you know, the current setup in the game. So I was kind of switching between the relief layer and the new maps, but man, were those new maps super bright.
Yeah, they're pretty bright, but you know, it's detail we have not seen before in the sim.
Oh, so no, it's
absolutely, you know, I'm glad to have them, but I'm also glad that we have options, so we don't have to, you know, we can move around from different layer to different layer.
Have you used the land cover overlay at all?
Yes, I played with it a few times. It just makes me want to go back to relief mode.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's nice. It really is. I'll have to play with it more. Maybe when I stream later today, I'll look at that. You know, and I'll go through the different map layers. That'll give you something to do.
Have you had a chance to play with ground units at all?
Not really, other than to blow them up. No.
Was that an interest for you going into this? Was the land cover and the, you know, basically that was what I was really looking forward to in modern operations, wasn't so much as ground units versus other ground units, but basically ground units being able to hide in cover. That was really what I was looking forward to in modern operations.
But were they going to dial it down to that level? Were they going to do it that way?
Yeah, they do. So if you have a tank in like a forest zone, the tank is actually harder to spot visually.
Okay, so a recon unit won't just see it sitting out there in the open then. Okay, that's cool.
I mean, whereas if you have that same tank sitting in an open field, then it's going to be spotted by everybody. But if that same tank is in a jungle or in a forest, it's going to move slower, but it's going to be harder to see.
I got you.
And
Okay.
each that's why I was asking if you'd mess with the land cover, because each one has like a movement bonus or penalty as well as a concealment
Very
bonus and
cool.
penalty,
That's what a war game should have, you know.
and so like I said, I was less concerned about ground versus ground units, but I've been toying
Well,
around with doing a close air support scenario
and just
as a
yesterday they updated pathfinding for ground units,
yeah, I noticed
so
that.
that was been improved, and apparently a lot of people are saying that's been fixed. So
Oh, that's good to hear, because I know
yeah.
there was some pathfinding issues that were going on, especially with like slope terrains, and
Hmm.
aircraft were, or not aircraft, but units were, ground units anyway, were doing some really weird pathing when you
Yeah.
told them to move points.
Yeah. Well, heck, that was I mean, it's out. Command's out. We weren't expecting it this year. That's another bonus about the
Oh
game.
yeah, I mean, I know it was kind of close, because they typically don't do announcements now until about 3 months before release,
Hmm.
and we heard about this, what, September or August,
Yeah.
late August, beginning of September was when it got announced. And even being in the beta team, I didn't think the release was this close.
Yeah.
Well, we don't really get information on that.
No, we don't. No.
We don't get, hey, we're releasing in November, we're releasing in December. We don't get that information.
It was news to me, and very welcome news.
Yeah, I didn't see it coming
Release.
this year at all. So I'm happy it's out, because I'm planning on spending a good portion of my upcoming weekend playing
Yep.
even more of it.
Yes, me too.
And I'm back doing scenario design. I've been back streaming it on Saturdays. I'm gonna
Yeah.
probably be doing a scenario design series on Friday nights. I was gonna do it this Friday, but I ended up started this last Friday. We're recording this on Sunday, but I ended up going out for dinner with one of my with my aunt. So,
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
but
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
I've really been enjoying it. It's
Yeah.
definitely,
So,
what if
it's kind of reinvigorated the whole community.
oh,
So
most definitely. A lot of faces coming back now.
yes. Yep. It's all good in the neighborhood, as they could say.
Yep. So I think that's it. Unless there's any more you
Yeah.
want to gush about with about that.
No, no. I mean, it's the proof's in the pudding, guys. If you see it on Steam, it may seem to be a steep price, but it's totally worth it. They have a bundle on there right now. We could buy that in TagView Advanced, and you that way you'll be totally set up and ready to go with the TagView integration. And
Because
just
you've bought TechView now, right?
yes, yes. So I bought it through Steam, and if you buy, I bought Command first. Then I noticed there was a bundle at 25% off. So a few days later, I went out and bought TagView.
But you
And
still got the bundle price though, because it had
yeah,
recognized that you'd
yes, I
already
did.
bought
Yeah,
Command, right?
yeah. So it gave me the bundle price, so you won't have to pay the big bucks for the TagView Advanced.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna buy the standalone. I think I'm gonna buy
Hmm.
the standalone version of TechView. I'm just waiting to see if it goes on sale for Black Friday.
Yeah.
I think my
Well, that
TechView.
was oh,
In fact, I actually think so. It's what, a 3 week. It's a 3 week. So I actually have until I think the 4th.
yeah, sometime early in December. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe because I bought it. So I think I showed it off on the 16th on my previous or on the 9th on my previous stream. So I think I have until the 30th.
Okay.
So I basically have it until the end of the month. So if it doesn't go on sale for Black Friday, then I'm just gonna buy it. But
Hmm.
I'm gonna buy the standalone version from the TACView website rather than buying it through Steam.
Yep.
You
Makes
know,
sense.
I don't hate Steam. I really like Steam, but I also don't want everything I own to be tied to Steam.
Yeah, understandable. I can understand that, but it's just for me, everything's there. It works. Who cares what directory it's in? So
Yeah, and what I haven't looked to see if you buy the standalone, if you can then enter that code onto Steam.
yeah, that'd be
I
interesting
don't
to know.
think so. I don't think that works with them, but I'm gonna take a
You
look.
could always, yeah, could always take a look. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I think that's gonna be it for us But I can't talk today. I think that's going to be it for us today.
Episode 8, Part 6, or whatever we're on now. So
It's only part 3, and I'll probably chop in. I'll probably chop in the little bits. I'm gonna. If you guys are hearing a little bit more than about 50 minutes of this, it's probably because I've chopped in parts. Or we've had this in-depth conversation on modern operations 2 or 3 times now. So I'll probably chop in bits of those into
it
this episode.
I sound a little disjointed, but hey,
Maybe, or maybe I'll just release those as a standalone, separate episode.
sure.
You know, one of those was right after release, and one of those was a preview right before the game came out. So,
Uh-huh.
I'm, or maybe I'll just drop those. But I do want some. I think we had a good discussion there before, so I'm gonna find something to do with those other episodes. But I think that, anyways, I think that's gonna bring us to the end of today's show.
Mm-hmm.
And where can people find you on the internet, SSN?
Well, I am on Twitter at SonarWolf. That's my Twitter handle. I also have a Mixer.com streamer page now where I'm doing some streaming, experimenting with it anyway. It is Mixer.com/SSN SSN-754.
Oh, so you're trying out Mixer then?
I am, yeah, I'm going to try out Mixer. I'll be the trailblazer there. I've never seen anybody do command. I've actually had some people come in and say, hey, what is this? So I have to explain it to them. So, yeah, I've only done two streaming episodes. The first one I forgot to put record on, so it didn't actually keep it. And the second one was kind of a disjointed thing where I kept getting interrupted for family things. But
there's a really cool setting in OBS that says record while streaming.
It does. Yeah, well, it actually is. It's in the Mixer.com dashboard too.
Oh.
So it picks it up right off Mixer.
Oh, okay.
So that is kind of cool. I mean, Mixer is owned by Microsoft, of course, and it has besides everybody going to see Ninja play Fortnite, it's just like Twitch, but a lot more interaction features between your chatters, your audience, and the person streaming, which I have yet to touch on because I'm just starting. So,
but so far you like Mixer? How's the audience been over there? I mean, I know Command's doesn't really draw in huge crowds, but
well, from what I've seen, they don't. There's no, with a lot of things, what you see on Twitch with the girls running around with barely hardly any clothes on. You don't see any of that at Mixer. They will shut that down on a heartbeat. It's really well moderated, and so yeah, the audience seems to be a lot better. I mean, it's kind of a close knit community. I've noticed people say hello to each other, and because they've seen them in different rooms. So.
I may have to check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a viable platform just like Twitch is. So, it's also integrated into Microsoft, the Xbox. It's in the dashboard of the Xbox. If you have an Xbox, you can stream straight from an Xbox onto Mixer, and of course, it does computer games too. So. On the PC side.
And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Kushan Gaming on Twitter. I'm also Kushan Gaming on YouTube, Kushan Gaming on Twitch, and I think I have my Mixer set up as Kushan Gaming, but I haven't done anything over there at all. So, and of course you can find me on my Discord.
Yes.
And pretty much find me. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much been my main interactive point lately.
We're both on the official Command Discord. So if you happen to find that through the Matrix forums, come look us up. We'll say hi.
Yep. And with that, guys, have a good day, and we'll see you guys next episode.
Have a good day, guys.